Michael Schumacher gets the car slowed down. That's why he was being so aggressive. He's right underneath our commentary position. He comes into his box, inch perfect. They practice this so many times, these teams.
We've got a race, James. That's great news that Michael is in before Alonso, because that obviously meant he was carrying less fuel. Raikkonen's in the McLaren from 8th place. So it's a genuine pace that we're seeing from Fernando Alonso.
Schumacher makes the earlier stop again.
Not a good day for Williams, though. They're down in 8th and 10th at the moment, with Montoya 8th, Genet 10th, and way off the pace, it seems. So the changes haven't worked too well for them. They do seem to have some pace in there if they can only find it. This man certainly has got all the pace he needs at the moment, but he just has to keep stopping for fuel before the Spaniard. New lap record for Michael Schumacher, a 1:15.4, and you've got Alonso doing 1:16.8. That's already enough to negate the lead that he had. So Schumacher absolutely blisteringly fast at this stage. He's in at the end of this lap. We're hearing from the F1 ITV pit crew, and you wonder why they didn't bring him in a couple of 3 laps ago, James.
You'd have to say that, because his lap times have been in the high 1:16s, and Schumacher, with a new fuel load, new tyres, has made it work. As you said, a 1:15.4 his last lap, and that should give him the lead over Alonso as the race leader comes into the pits. And we're expecting Michael Schumacher to come down the hill any time now and take the lead away for the first time in this Grand Prix from Renault. They're going to work as fast as they can, It's a fantastic stop, but it won't be enough, because Schumacher's blasting down the pit straight, and Alonso will see him in a moment. There he goes, disappearing into the first corner. There is Michael Schumacher. He is the new race leader. And, well, Alonso stayed out a couple of laps, and it didn't work for him. That last lap of Schumacher's a 1:15.3, the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Exactly when he needed it, Schumacher found the speed, and that is why Schumacher is Michael Schumacher, and it's why he's a 6-time world champion.
And we're seeing the Ferrari pit crew out underneath our window here. Clearly, who's been stopping first of those? It's Michael pits then. Michael Schumacher pits. So that was a short stint, James.
It was indeed a very short stint indeed. Have lost a wheel nut somewhere, have they? No, it was a good stop. It was just something that deceived the eye. 6.5 seconds. That's a fantastic stop by the Ferrari pit crew. Michael Schumacher rejoining. Hopefully this time, for his sake, you won't have too much traffic. Just a Toyota there flashing through the frame to worry him in the near future. But well, he had 4.9 seconds over Alonso, so a comfortable margin.
That was a very short stint.
It was indeed. They must be pretty confident on the tyres then, because they're sending him out for a 28 lap final stint. Or no, they can't be. 6 seconds of fuel. He must be stopping again a 4th time.
That'd be a surprise. Be amazing if he's on a 4-stopper. But if not, as you say, it's a long way to go.
Well, 28 laps. There's no way you can do that with 6 seconds worth of fuel. I mean, 6 seconds of fuel is something in the region of about 45 kilos. That will only get him 18, 19 laps.
Yep. So very strange then. I wonder if there was a problem creeping in there, and because that is well early for Michael Schumacher to be making his 3rd stop. But Alonso leads then. Renault in the pits of Alonso.
Race leader Fernando Alonso comes in for this 3rd stop of the afternoon with 24 laps to go. Ted's down there. How much fuel are they putting in, Ted?
Well, this will give it away. Let's see. The clock is going. Pat Simmons, Renault's engineering chief, has been doing his calculations. Now that looks like that's 8 seconds. He does not have to stop again. They're in with a really good chance here, guys.
He doesn't. Michael Schumacher was 8.7 behind at the time when he came in, so he's comfortably going to retake the lead. And Schumacher will have approximately 9 or 10 seconds in his pocket then, but he's got to make enough of an advantage to be able to pit again to make his 4th, I believe, stop of the afternoon. It's certainly not all over yet, Martin. He stopped on lap 42, put 6.5 seconds worth of fuel into the car, which is about 17 laps worth. So that brings him in towards the end of the 50s. So very rough maths, as you can imagine. I haven't got Roth Braun's calculators there, but roughly speaking, he's got about 13 laps to make 10 seconds. That's the challenge in front of Michael Schumacher, with Alonso having just made a stop. Schumacher has been in and out, well, he's been 5 laps now out on these tyres, and he's lapping in the high 1:15. So we'll be watching the lap times like a hawk, watching to see what Alonso can do. What's the margin at the moment then, as Alonso goes across the start-finish line? 11.5 seconds. That's your race leader, Michael Schumacher. His task was to find about 8 or 9 seconds over Alonso during this stint. He looks like he's done it. The last few laps have been kind to Michael Schumacher and rather unkind to Fernando Alonso. There's Ross Brawn on the right, the Ferrari technical director and chief strategist. He's the one that sent Michael Schumacher out on the quest we believe, of stopping 4 times here this afternoon. It took half the race before Alonso gave up the lead to Michael Schumacher. Schumacher took it by short fueling one of his stops, but he's ahead now of Alonso.
Ferrari are coming out for Michael's 4th and final stop. It's looking good.
That's an urgent decision they've just made, isn't it? They bolted out of their seats, so understandably, because Michael Schumacher's already at the Imola chicane, so just 2 corners to go before the pit lane, and quite clearly they've decided with a 21.7 second advantage, and he's already another half second up on this lap 2 over Alonso, and that's why they've done it, James. Traffic ahead of them. They've decided, that's why the mechanics bolted so quickly, so Michael doesn't lose time between the Williams and the Jordan.
Well, certainly Alonso has lost time in traffic, and that's what's pretty much finished off his challenge. 21 seconds, so any kind of mistake here will cost him the win, but Ferrari don't make too many mistakes in pit stops, do they? Michael doesn't make too many mistakes. The Ferrari team in general are pretty much like a clockwork operation, and Michael Schumacher should have about 4 or 5 seconds in his pocket. Alonso crosses the line now, and so he's got the length of the pit straight and part of the first corner between himself and Fernando Alonso. That is one of the Jaguars, and Alonso was behind him on the racetrack. Schumacher retains the lead. The 4-stop strategy of Ross Brawn would appear to have worked here this afternoon. The aggressive driving of Michael Schumacher has done the rest. Schumacher backing off, the air horns going, you can hear. The Ferrari mechanics are all out on the wall, ready to salute home their hero. Michael Schumacher just got a couple of corners to go. He comes down the hill from Chateau d'Eau. He's done it so many times before. He clinched a world title here back in 2002 in record time. And now he's going to win his 7th French Grand Prix. What a tremendous victory for Michael Schumacher and the whole of the Ferrari team. Ross Brawn on the strategy.
3.
Michael, a stunning 4-stop victory today in the French Grand Prix. At what stage of the race did you switch to that 4-stop strategy?
Basically after the second pit stop, we decided to go for that towards the back. It was clear. There wasn't really a challenge. There was only the challenge forward. We knew it was optimistic, but no risk, no fun. So Ross decided for it, and it was just brilliant. Not only the strategy as well, the teamwork again. I mean, in terms of pit stop, the guys have just done fantastic pit stops, very precise, very precious, and no, just unbelievable. I mean, I wasn't really so optimistic going into the race, but our tyres today, they worked fantastically well towards the end of the stint, whereas our competitors struggled, and that was one of the key issues why we were able to close the gaps before pit stop and then attack and go for the strategy.
Well, Ross, you've treated us so brilliantly this weekend, and you've treated us to a fantastic, daring strategy. When did you make that decision? In the middle of the race?
Well, Luca Baldessari, our strategist, came up with the idea over the weekend when we had some numbers. And so we had it in our pocket. And during the second stint, when it became clear that we had enough space behind us with Trulli, we thought we'd throw it in there and jumble up the numbers a bit. And because Michael needed some free space to run. And he'd got to a stage where Alonso was holding him up. So we thought we'd try it.
Because it was all about getting track position, and very well judged, because you could have been in a bit of trouble if you'd come out behind someone who was 3 stopping.
Well, we had a pretty good idea when the other guys were going to stop, so we didn't think that we would get held up. Button was the one that we were unsure of, but Michael was going to come out 3 or 4 seconds behind Button, and Button was due in within a couple of laps, so we thought we had a window, and it worked.